Welcome to the Liberating Joy in Learning podcast. I'm Brina Beckstrand, and today we're interviewing our first guest on our podcast. Keelee McGhee has been a friend for a long time. We first met at a homeschool training in Arizona and later again at a homeschool PE co-op. Then we created our own PE co-op because we are always better at creating our own things, right?
Right.
We called it Happy Group, which stood for Helping All Phases of Education. This came about because of a similar passion for following the homeschooling principles, which included phases of education taught in Oliver and Rachel DeMille's A Thomas Jefferson Education that we discussed last time. Keelee is a wife, mother, and grandmother living in Newport, Washington. She owns a bakery and is very active in her church community. I'm excited to have her join us today, super excited, because for me, she played a very important role in helping me liberate my joy in learning. Keelee has played a pivotal role also in helping me develop the 5 reasons for liberating joy in learning that we shared in our very first episode. By the way, the PDF of the main ideas in the first section will be coming out soon, I promise. So we started our Happy Group in order to give order to the learning that we sought for our children and for ourselves. We started with a rotating schedule of physical education activities for our kids. Then the moms would work on their phase of education by discussing books that we had decided together to read, and then we would write a one-page synopsis about. In all of this, we capitalized on the resources for learning that we had in learning together. So the question is, what joy in learning did Happy Group liberate for you? When we were learning together in Happy Group, what joys did you find in your learning?
I think it just created joy, period, in learning. I don't think learning was a joy until that time. And it actually became, I have said it, my world went from black and white to color as we started learning together. And it was just transformational. It just changed. It was joy in learning, period.
Okay, so I love that. That's awesome.
Okay.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
That is perfect. For me, it was a lot about the relationship, but looking ahead, the next question is about the relationship. So I'm going to backtrack in my mind and think, okay, because this was 15 years ago. It's longer than that, almost 20.
Oh, it's been, yeah.
Yeah, almost 20. So it's been a little difficult for both of us to answer these questions because it's been a very long time. For me, yeah, as far as how it affected my learning, I loved the opportunity to work really hard at studying books that we wouldn't have otherwise. And do you remember we tried to switch off, like we would read Pride and Prejudice and then we read something heavier so that we would give ourselves a break. And I always refer back to the 4 months that we spent reading Les Mis. We read 80 pages a week and we got through the entire thing. Mm-hmm. And I'm so grateful that we had each other to get through that. I would never have read it on my own.
Well, in that season, I actually took a trip to Washington, a road trip, Washington, Colorado, and back with my kids. And in order to stay up, I listened to Les Mis. And my kids, who were, probably 7, 9, 11, when I would stop, they'd go, Mom, we have to hear more. They got very caught up in that book.
Yeah.
And that was just so exciting to me to see how they got caught up in a book that is not typically a children's book.
No, certainly not.
So, yeah.
Well, and the other thing it did for me, it gave me a chance to write. And I love writing. That is it's what keeps me going in life. It's my solution to everything. And so there's different ways, but it was great to, each book had its own thing that was calling me to write, the style, everything. I just kind of approached it from a different way. So I loved that opportunity to write about those. And then we shared them with each other. And we, okay, so next question, right? Here we go. Okay. The 4th principle that liberates joy in learning is learning together builds powerful and joyful relationships that help maximize our learning efforts. Happy Group for me is one of the most powerful learning groups that I have ever been a part of. Amen, right?
Right.
Okay. I still occasionally refer to papers that I wrote. I have them on my computer and I refer to them. So if you ever need them, I have them all.
Yeah, I should pull mine back up again.
We should revisit them. I can't quantify the learning and growth I gained by sharing that learning journey with all of us in that group, in reading and the ideas that we shared and the understanding that we gained in experiences we read, that we gained through reading and sharing those ideas through someone else. So
Okay.
it was amazing, right? We can't quantify it, but I'm going to ask, what was it about Happy Group that liberated powerful and joyful learning relationships for you?
It was being with people who thought differently than I did, and reading the same book, whatever we were reading together, and discussing it and seeing it from a different perspective, and understanding that everyone doesn't think the way that I do,
Right.
and then hearing what someone is saying and gaining from their different perspective on
Yeah.
something.
Yeah.
And even understanding how someone processes and how someone writes, because we all wrote so differently.
Right.
It was not, my style was not your style.
Yes.
It was very different. And, I think for me, those papers, transformational papers, it was how did that book change me?
Yes.
And to hear how it impacted me and impacted you and the others in the group.
Right.
That it wasn't the same at all. They were all very different.
Yes,
now. And
completely.
And I think just coming to appreciate the fact that our friendships, that we could be close, we could have friendships, and we could see things so very differently.
Right.
It
And there was some
powerful
there was
for
some
me.
glaring differences, but then there was some other differences that we learned, that we gained from as well.
Right.
Cool. The primary lenses were developed a few years after she and I moved away from Arizona. And as I reviewed them in light of the friendship we have continued to share over the years, I can see that we experienced all of these together. Wondering shamelessly, owning our failures and successes, claiming all of those things. Particularly the one that stands out for me, though, is wondering shamelessly. In my mind, I can remember lots of discussions where both of us wondered, what if we... Right? What if we tried this? What if we did this? What if we tweaked it this way? Right? So what is the value of wondering what if with someone?
I think you see the possibilities.
Yeah.
You just see possibilities. And especially if you're both wondering what if, I think it's just almost an endless. Anything is possible.
Yeah.
And it's, I think, feeding off of each other and just that desire of, well, what if we did it this way? And sometimes I think the what if is, what if we try it differently than what you're thinking it's going to be?
Yeah.
What if we try it this way?
Yeah.
But what if? You dream if you're asking what if.
Right.
And I think I dream bigger if I am able to say what if with someone else.
Right.
It's not just me.
Well, and I'm going to go back because with the other answer, the value of those relationships was that committed relationship. Like we didn't sign any forms, but we were committed to read those books. We were committed to providing those PE opportunities for our kids. And, other groups that we went to, people came and went. They may or may not have been there, whatever. We were committed to being there. Now, granted, sometimes our kids were sick, we were out of town, but for the most part, we were committed. And so when you ask what if in a committed relationship, it's so different than, because you also have those, well, what if this isn't working and how do we change it? We need to change the day of the co-op, whatever. There are times when those things have to change. Mm-hmm. So, those what ifs are so much better in those committed relationships, different levels of them, right? It's not the same as a marriage, but it's still a committed relationship.
Right. You mentioned the fact that you wouldn't have gotten through the books without that commitment.
Right.
That's what I feel like. There are things I wouldn't have read if it hadn't been for that commitment. And it was because we were really trying to get through didn't we try one a month that we tried to get through the book as much
give or
as we
take,
could,
right? Yeah.
And write a paper each month. We were trying to do that. And so to keep up with that, I also had a responsibility to the other members of that group.
Yeah.
Because if someone didn't follow through, we lost out their voice in that.
And it was
discussion.
very much missed, wasn't it?
The same.
It was very much missed.
Mm-hmm.
It was.
It's not the same.
Yeah.
I think that there was, well, I just think this is something that was sweet about that group specifically. It was more than just the moms. I was also building relationship with the kids as well.
Oh, yes.
And
yes.
so because of that, there was even a deeper connection because I understood more of each member's life because I was also teaching PE to their kids.
Yes. Yes.
and
Well,
playing with them and
right.
celebrating birthdays together and doing those things together. And it really became a community, a learning community, which was, I thought, just it was more than just studying books. It involved more of our life, and I think that's part of what the
that was
power of
a
that
huge part of it.
was of that happy group, was that it was more than just a book discussion.
Right.
We went to
Right.
somewhere and discussed it.
Well, so the next question is, what is the value of having a friend that you learn with? And I think you've answered that. I'm also thinking of, 15 years later, you have been living in Newport since this time. We've been all over the place, and we have a connection here, right? Like, we can get together. And just earlier today, I was like, I remember what it was like to have these conversations with you. And so those connections, they last. They're so powerful. And I'm incredibly grateful for that connection that continues.
But what's fun for me this time is to see how we both have grown from
Yes.
that we
Yes.
are not the same people we were, and yet how influential that time was and where we are now.
Yes.
And I will say, one of the sweetest things, and I did take a picture of your bookshelves. I love knowing what you're reading. Because it's like, well, I'll try that.
Yeah.
See what
Yes.
that's like.
Well, and we talked about that. So we have a relationship now. Keely's been sharing some books that she's been reading, and she shared 3, and there was 2. I was like, oh yeah, I got to get those. And another one, I was like, nope. I think I'm good. And it's, we have that relationship, and we can say, that's going to work for me. That's not, but the relationship is there. So we can have those, she can be like, okay, that's great for me. And it doesn't have to be great for you. Right. So cool. Right. All right. So thanks for joining us in this discussion. Next time, we'll consider how another theory of learning and growth helps us understand learning liberated principles. And as always, if you have questions or comments, message us at learningliberated@gmail.com or on our Learning Liberated Facebook group with any questions or comments. And if this episode spoke to you, share it with someone else that might enjoy it as well. Thanks. Bye.